This is a tutorial for how to use Employee Self-Service, or ESS for short. This is the website you will use to log your hours worked during employment with the Sun Prairie Parks, Recreation, and Forestry Department. Over on the left-hand side, you'll see a list of tabs. There are a couple tabs that you will use most often. The first one is Pay and Tax Information. Here's where you will see a list of past paychecks. You can see your check date, pay period, and your pay. If you'd like to open up more details about that particular paycheck, you can do that here. Also under Pay and Tax Information, you can find tax forms such as W-2s, W-4s, as well as a few other options here. The other tab on the left-hand side that you will use most often is Time Entry. This is where you will enter your hours worked during employment. When you first click on Time Entry, this is a screen that you will see. You can see some options up here. Copy from previous week, save for later, and submit. We'll go over those in a minute. This screen will always bring you to the current date, and you can see on this calendar, starts on a Saturday, ends on a Friday. Now to log hours, it's very simple. You'll click over here under the day worked. One other thing to point out is depending on if you have more than one job title with our department, you may or may not have a drop-down box right up here. If you only have one job title, let's say program instructor, and that is all, you will not have this option. For this example, this particular employee is set up as a program specialist as well as a program attendant. So before logging hours, it's very important that you select the appropriate job title. If you are unsure, you will want to get in touch with your immediate supervisor on which job title to select before recording your hours. For the sake of this example, we will start out under program attendant for this employee. Let's say they came in and worked on Monday, April 11th. You will simply click on that box for 4/11. And down here is where you will fill in the information. When logging your hours, we ask that you log them in quarter increments. So for example, if you worked 15 minutes, that would be 0.25. 30 minutes would be 0.5, and 45 minutes would be 0.75. So let's say this program attendant came in and worked 1.75 hours. So that would be 1 hour and 45 minutes. You'll most likely have a drop-down box here for activity, and depending on your job title and how you are set up as an employee with us, will determine this list. So you may have a variety of youth sports programs. This particular employee has the following. So again, if you are unsure of which program you worked a particular number of hours, you will want to get in touch with your direct supervisor to confirm that. So let's say this employee worked 1.75 hours and it was for a preschool camp. Under the notes section, we ask that you again enter the specific program that you worked. So in this case, I selected preschool camps, and let's say the name of that preschool camp for that specific program was Preschoolers in the Park. And that 1.75 hours, we're going to say they worked from 12 to 1:45 p.m. Again, that's 1 hour and 45 minutes, recorded as 1.75. Once we're done filling in this information here, you'll click on Add Line Item. You can see it brings it up here. At this point, you still have the ability to edit those hours or details, delete. Otherwise, you will see that it brings those 1.75 hours up here under that day for Monday, April 11th. So let's say that same employee came back a little bit later that day to work as program attendant again. Let's say this time they got 2.5 hours, so that'd be recorded as 2.5, but this time they worked in the Little Cardinals program. So they worked that 2.5 hours from 4 to 6:30 p.m. We'll add line item. You can see it brings it up here. So now for that one day, Monday, April 11th, it has a total of 4.25 hours. And again, this is under program attendant. So if we're done recording for the time being, you'll want to click on Save for Later. So that saves those hours there. So now if you have more than one job title and you want to, and if you worked hours for the other job title, let's say on a different day, this could also be true if you worked that same day, but we'll use the example of, let's say the next day they came in on Tuesday, April 12th, and instead of program attendants, they worked as a program specialist. Again, check with your immediate supervisor if you're unsure. So now we're under program specialist. They came in on Tuesday, April 12th. Say they worked a long day, 5 hours, youth enrichment program. We'll call this one youth arts and crafts. 5 hours from 1 to 6 p.m. Add line item. Brings it up here. We'll go ahead and save for later. So one other thing to point out is, let's say you came back on a little bit later that week. Let's say you worked at another program on Friday, April 15th as a program specialist. We'll put in 3.5 hours. And let's say you helped out at a program that is not on your core list of program areas. So let's say you helped out at you were asked to help out at a special event, maybe a concerts in the park. Now you don't have that option on your list. So that's what this miscellaneous rec is for. So this is going to be used for any time that you worked a program or a program area that is not in your list of activities. So miscellaneous rec, notes, so we'll say concerts in the park, 3.5 hours from, let's say it started at 6 p.m. You worked until 9:30 p.m. Add line item, and again it brings it up here, brings it over to Friday, April 15th, 3.5 hours. So we'll save that for later. Now the other tab that you will use up here at the top is Submit. Now it's very important that you do not click the Submit button until you are done logging hours for that pay period. You want to make sure you have the pay period scheduled from your direct supervisor so that you can keep track of when timesheets are due. You will also receive email reminders from our department every 2 weeks when those are going to be due. So, but again, you do not want to click submit until you are done logging for that pay period, because you will not be able to edit the hours after you click submit. So let's say it's the last day of the pay period and you are ready to submit. You know you will not have any more hours. You'll click on that submit button. So what you may have noticed here is that there's now a check mark next to those hours. And that is just telling you that those have been submitted and your supervisor now has those hours for approval. And that is how to use employee self-service for logging hours. ESS is what you will most likely hear this referred to from your supervisor or staff in the office. Employee self-service, or ESS. Thank you.